القهار العزيز الغفار مقدر الأقدار مصرف الأمور ومكبر الليل على النهار وصلوات الله تعالى وسلامه على نبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وآل كل وصحابتهم أجمعين وتابعين لهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. So now we reach a discussion about the Sahih of Imam al-Bukhari and the Sahih of Imam Muslim. Which one is more authentic according to the majority of the ulama of hadith, and what is the different wujuh, the perspectives that gives one book arjahiyya, preference over the other book. So the Shaykh says rahimahullah, wujuhu arjahiyyati sahih al-Bukhari ala sahih Muslim. The different perspectives of why the Sahih of Imam al-Bukhari is preferred and more authentic than the Sahih of al-Imam Muslim ibn Hajjaj ibn Muslim al-Qushayri and Naysaburi. So just before we start the actual book, he doesn't mention in here, the Shaykh rahimahullah doesn't mention the discussion of whether the Muwatta of Imam Malik, al-Imam Malik ibn Anas ibn Malik al-Madani rahimahullah, who passed away in the year 179 after Hijri, what is the ruling on the Muwatta of Imam Malik, and is it more authentic than Sahih al-Bukhari or Sahih Muslim? The majority of the ulama, they go towards that the Sahih of Imam al-Bukhari rahimahullah is the most authentic book after the Quran. So after the Quran, there is no book that is more strenuous in its authenticity than the book of Imam al-Bukhari rahimahullah. But also the Muwatta of Imam Malik rahimahullah is a very authentic book, because the compiler himself, al-Imam Malik rahimahullah, in the books of hadith, he is one of the most praised ulama of hadith from all of the muhaddithun from every century, especially from as-Salaf as-Salihun. He is praised greatly, until they say that if al-Imam Malik rahimahullah narrates from someone who is majhul, unknown, still that narration is a hujjah, a proof, because of the makana, the rank of Imam Malik rahimahullah. So Imam Malik in his Muwatta, remember the Muwatta is not just a book of hadith, first of all. It's a book of aqwal al-sahaba and fatawa of the tabi'een. So that does make the book less than Imam al-Bukhari Sahih, because Imam al-Bukhari rahimahullah in the main body of his text only includes Sahih hadith from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, marfu' hadith. And the hadith also differ in their types. But also one of the main criticisms that people bring, even though this criticism does not in no way, shape or form degrade the book of Imam Malik rahimahullah ta'ala, that is not the aim of the ulama, because I'm just transmitting what the ulama say. There's no degrading of the Muwatta of Imam Malik, because Imam Malik rahimahullah is Muwatta, as Imam Shafi'i says, there's no book on the face of the earth more authentic than the book of al-Muwatta of Imam Malik. This was until Imam al-Bukhari came and his book was more authentic. So in the book of al-Muwatta Imam Malik, he will quote mursal narrations, munqati' narrations, and balaghat, which is a type of narration. These narrations he will include in the main body of his text. Whereas Imam al-Bukhari rahimahullah and Imam Muslim rahimahullah, they will not include these type of narrations in the main body of their text. They may include these type of narrations in their footnotes or the headings, etc., etc., but not in the main body of the text, which is all sahih. So this is why some ulama, they prefer the book of Imam al-Bukhari to the book of Imam Malik rahimahullah, the Muwatta. The Muwatta, which is like a musannaf in its style. So for this reason, they say the Sahih of Imam al-Bukhari is more authentic than the Muwatta of Imam Malik rahimahumullah jami'an. But you remember that Ibn Abdul Barr, in his commentary on the Muwatta, he mentions that all the narrations that may be mursal, munqati' or the balaghat of Imam Malik rahimahullah, they are all authentic narrations nonetheless, and they have corroborating reports from other books of hadith, which show that Imam Malik rahimahullah, when he placed those hadith in the book, He was not ignorant of these hadith, wal-iyadhu billah, that these hadith have weakness in them, but these hadith are authentic. And this is mentioned by Sheikh Salih al-Fulani, rahimahullah ta'ala, who says that there are chains found for all of these narrations, apart from four. And even them, Sheikh Salih al-Fulani, rahimahullah, says that these four chains are in the possession, meaning in his possession. So this shows that the Muwatta of Imam Malik, rahimahullah, is also authentic, completely authentic. But because of this, these munaqashat between the ulama, they will say that the book Sahih of Imam al-Bukhari is more authentic. So that point out of the way. وإنما قدم الجمهور صحيح البخاري على صحيح مسلم. The Jamhur of the ulama, the main body of the ulama, they will prefer the Sahih of Imam al-Bukhari to the Sahih of Imam Muslim. لأن الصفات التي تدور عليها الصحة وهي اتصال السند وثبوت العدالة والضبط والعدم الشذوذ والعلة القادحة. These signs, as you mentioned previously, that make a hadith authentic. هذه الصفات هي في كتاب البخاري أكمل منها في كتاب مسلم وأسد وشرط البخاري أقوى وأشد. The Shaykh mentioned, rahimahullah, that the conditions of Imam Bukhari, they are more stringent when it comes to authenticating the hadith. He will have more strenuous conditions to authenticate the hadith as opposed to his student, Al-Imam Muslim ibn Hajjaj al-Qushayri al-Naysaburi. This shows this one reason why people, the main body of the ulama of hadith, have preferred the Sahih of Imam al-Bukhari to the Sahih of Imam Muslim. Then he says the conditions of Bukhari, because remember the conditions of these two authors, they will have certain dawabit and qawaid, certain principles and maxims they will use in hadith that will give them the acceptance of a narration and rad of a narration, to reject the narration. So the Shaykh mentioned that this is the majority position of all the ulama of hadith, except some maghariba, some ulama of Morocco, North Africa. They will say that Sahih Muslim is arjah, but this position is a very minority position. Like scholars like Ibn Hazm al-Andalusi, the author of al-Muhalla, the author of Kitab al-Fisl fi Mil wa Nihal, and many books, he preferred the book of Al-Imam Muslim. But of course his opinion is not taken, as many of the Qattani, Moroccan ulama, they mention that they mention about Ibn Hazm, although this is off topic, that the tongue of Ibn Hazm was as sharp as the sword of Hajjaj bin Yusuf. Why? Because Ibn Hazm would go against a lot of ulama and speak bad against a lot of ulama. So they mention that Ibn Hazm, he did mukhalafa, he went against over 50 points that were mujma' alayh before him, but he went against these points. Like, for example, weakening hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari or Sahih Muslim. And inshallah, we will cover soon how Ibn Hazm attempted to weaken the hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari regarding the prohibition of music, because of course he believed it was permissible. أما رجحان صحيح البخاري من حيث اتصال السند. As for the preference of Sahih al-Bukhari, from the aspect of the ittisal al-sanad, meaning the chain, the report being muttasil, connected, as opposed to mursal, munqati' and mu'dal, which we covered earlier. فلأن البخاري قد اشترط في الحديث المعنعن أن يكون الراوي قد ثبت له لقاء من روى عنه ولو مرة. وأما مسلم فاكتفى بمطلق المعاصرة مع إمكان اللقي. Okay, this is one of the most cited reasons why the Sahih of Imam al-Bukhari is preferred to the Sahih of Imam Muslim. This qawl, so important thing to note is Imam Muslim ibn Hajjaj, he wrote a muqaddimah to his Sahih, where he listed some conditions he did or laid out to accept a narration to put in his Sahih. Imam al-Bukhari had no such introduction. So Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani writes his famous introduction, Hadyu Sari مقدمة شرح صحيح البخاري. This book, Ibn Hajar, he answers a lot of objections against the Sahih, like the objections of Daraqutni, which will come later, and Imam Muslim answers them. The objections in his Sharh Sahih Muslim, al-Minhaj, which is a famous commentary on Sahih Muslim. Imam al-Bukhari, as well as Ali ibn al-Madini, rahimahumullah ta'ala, they would say that when identifying a Sahih narration, there has to be a proven meeting of the two narrators. So let's say person X and person Y. Person X in the hadith narrates from person Y. Person X, there has to be proof of the meeting of them two. As opposed to Imam Muslim. Imam Muslim just conditioned that there has to be a imkan, a possibility that they met. So they may have lived in Kufa, they may have lived together in Medina or Makkah, the Hijaz, or like Sham. When they conditioned this, Imam Muslim went against his teacher Imam al-Bukhari and said that the imkan, the possibility of the meeting is sufficient. But this is of course, the ulama state that Imam al-Bukhari, Ali ibn al-Madini and many ulama, when they condition that the proof of the meeting has to be seen and proven, this makes the Sahih of Imam al-Bukhari more stringent in his conditions to accept the hadith. So he says, وَأَمَّا مُسْلِمٌ فَاكْتَفَى بِمُطْلَقِ الْمُعَاصَرَةِ مَعَ إِمْكَانِ اللُّقِيِّ. Imam Muslim accepts just the imkan of the meeting, not the proof of the meeting. And this was one of the reasons the ulama state, like Imam Nawawi in his Sharh Sahih Muslim, al-Minhaj, that the ulama wrote, that he wrote his muqaddimah to prove this principle. وَأَمَّا رُجْحَانُهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ الْعَدَالَةُ وَالضَّبْطُ. As for its preference, meaning Sahih al-Bukhari over Sahih Muslim, from the aspect of the narrator's adala and dabt, adala uprightness and dabt accuracy, as we covered previously in the previous lessons. فَلِأَنَّ الرِّجَالَ الَّذِينَ تُكُلِّمَ فِيهِمْ مِنْ رِجَالِ مُسْلِمٍ أَكْثَرُ عَدَدًا. This is تمييز to اسم تفضيل. من الرجال الذين تكلم فيهم من رجال البخاري مع أن البخاري لم يكثر من إخراج حديثهم. He says that the people or the narrators in Sahih al-Bukhari, the ones that are mutakallam fi. What does this mean, mutakallam fi? Mutakallam fi will mean that this narrator, he has some jarh on him. Now, the conditions of jarh to accept a rawi being majruh, etc., this is coming later. But just to summarize it, jarh is two types, al-mufassar and al-mubham. Jarh al-mubham is not accepted, only jarh al-mufassar, where the sabab, the reason for why this rawi is being majruh, is being wounded or being criticized, is present. Like they mention in the books of hadith, that jarh is not accepted except if the sabab is given tafsir, meaning you give sabab to why is this rawi weak in that sense. So the rijal in the Sahih Imam Muslim that mutakallam fi, that may have some jarh on them, they are more than the Sahih Imam al-Bukhari. مع أن البخاري لم يكثر من إخراج حديثهم. That Imam Bukhari rahimahullah, as we'll cover later, did not do excessive ikhraj of their hadith. Meaning, remember, akhrajahu, kharrajahu, these terms that came earlier, when they do takhrij or ikhraj of the hadith and place it in the sahih, Imam al-Bukhari did not do ikthar, go excessive in these rijalucha mutakallam fi. بل غالبهم من شيوخه. But most of the rijal in Bukhari are from his shuyukh الذين أخذ عنهم ومارس حديثهم. Imam al-Bukhari, when he had his shuyukh, he had over 1,000 shuyukh in hadith, and he memorized above 500,000 hadith, some say more. The shuyukh of his, he would do mumarasa, meaning he would verify the hadith from his shuyukh and narrate the hadith in his sahih, as opposed to Imam Muslim. Why? فإن أكثر من تفرد بتخريج حديثه ممن تكلم فيهم من المتقدمين عليه في الزمان. Imam Muslim, rahimahullah, would do more ikhraj of these ruwat wa mutakallam fi, and he would be alone in doing takhrij of their hadith. But remember, this does not weaken the Sahih of Imam Muslim, as he will cover later. But just to summarize, there are 480 rijal in Sahih al-Bukhari. Only 80 have been questioned. Whereas in Sahih Muslim, there are 620 rijal narrators, with double 160 of these narrators being questioned, which shows that the conditions for accepting those rijal for Imam al-Bukhari, his teacher, were less stringent than they were of less stringent than his teacher Imam al-Bukhari, rahimahullah ta'ala. And he will cover it now. ولا شك أن المرء أعرف بحديث شيوخه من حديث غيرهم ممن تقدم عنه. Of course, we know both narrators were very diligent in taking from their shuyukh, their teachers, as Imam al-Bukhari was also the main teacher of al-Imam Muslim, rahimahullah ta'ala. And we know that when he chose these certain narrators that Imam al-Bukhari may have not chosen, there is a reason why he chose these narrators. And of course, as mentioned in the books about Bukhari and Muslim, there are many books now which study the Sahih Imam al-Bukhari and the Sahih Imam Muslim. They will show that even when they pick narrators that may have jarh on them, they will pick the best narrations that they are, which are Sahih, the authentic narrations. وذلك أن رجال البخاري هم 480. Okay, he mentions it here. The Shaykh mentions, rahimahullah, that the Rijal of Imam al-Bukhari are 480. تكلم في 80 منهم بالضعف. 80 Rijal in Bukhari have been spoken about, that they are weaker than expected. And this is what al-Qutni fell into when in his al-Istidrak wa Tatabbu' or al-Ilzamat wa Tatabbu', his book, where he weakens the traditions in Bukhari and Muslim. He would weaken those hadith, as Imam Nawawi mentioned, because he believed they were not as sahih as others. Not that they were weak in its totality, because the Ummah has agreed that the hadith of Bukhari and Muslim, the connected reports, are all sahih. وأما رجال مسلم فهم 620 تكلم في 160 منهم. Again, same thing I mentioned earlier. 620 رجال in Sahih Muslim, as there are more hadith in Sahih Muslim, and only 160 have been spoken about. وأما رجحانه من حيث الشذوذ والإعلال. As for the preference of Sahih al-Bukhari over Sahih Muslim, because of the shudud wal-i'lal, the shadh, the anomalous things, and the i'lal, the ilal, فلأن من تقد عن البخاري من الأحاديث أقل عددا ممن تقد على مسلم. The hadith that have been spoken about, not just the narrators, but the hadith that have been spoken about in the Sahih of Imam al-Bukhari are much less than what has been spoken about in Sahih Muslim. على أن البخاري على so yeah على أن البخاري كان أجل من مسلم في العلوم وأعرف صناعة الحديث وأن مسلما تلميذه وخريجه ولم يزل يستفيد منه ويتتبع آثاره حتى قال القطني لولا البخاري لما راح مسلم ولا جاء. The final qawl of the Shaykh is that Imam al-Bukhari was, of course, in hadith was more virtuous than Imam Muslim, because the teacher, of course, is very rare the student surpasses the teacher. And Imam al-Bukhari was the main teacher of Imam Muslim. He taught him everything he knows. So Imam al-Bukhari, of course, will be more knowing of the hadith in his Sahih. So we were covering that Imam al-Bukhari was more ajal and وَأَعْرَفَ بِصِنَاعَةِ الْحَدِيثِ. Imam al-Bukhari, because of his senior age, his senior experience in hadith, and because he taught Imam Muslim, he had more of a precedence in the science of hadith. And this is what the Shaykh finishes it off with. وَأَنَّ مُسْلِمًا تِلْمِيذُهُ وَخِرِّيجُهُ, that Imam Muslim was his student and his khirij, meaning he took a lot of knowledge and hadith from Imam al-Bukhari. But remember, people ask the question, why didn't Imam al-Muslim narrate from his teacher Imam al-Bukhari in his Sahih if they were so close? This is a basic hadith mistake people make when they try to do ta'an, aspersion on the Sahih of Imam al-Bukhari or the Sahih of Imam Muslim. They will say that your history books say they were close, but Imam Muslim does not narrate hadith from Imam al-Bukhari. The simple answer is that, remember, muhaddithun, they look for a sanad which is ali, the shortest possible chain they will look for, and they will extract their hadith and put it in their Sahih. So Imam Muslim, because he was very close in age also to Imam al-Bukhari, Imam Muslim was born in 206 after Hijri. Imam al-Bukhari 194, 12-year age gap. So Imam Muslim was able to go straight to the shuyukh of Imam al-Bukhari and other shuyukh and narrate straight from them. This is why there would be thulathiyat, the chain reports with three narrators in there, because they would find Ali Asanid. This is why the ulama would say, As-sanad al-Ali qurbun or qurbatun ila Allah ta'ala, that a short high chain is closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the sanad is a sunnah. The sanad, a high sanad, is a sunnah. It's a part of the prophetic tradition. Also, they would mention that the chain, like Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he says, al-isnanu min ad-din, that the isnad is from the religion, walawla al-isnadu, and if it were not for the sanad, the chain, laqala man sha'a ma sha'a, that anyone be able to say what he wishes to say. And the sanad is that thing which um, proves people either right or wrong, because like Sufyan al-Thawri would say, when the liars prevail and try to represent or present their version of history, we will use the chain, the sanad, as a weapon against them to prove their lies wrong. That's why he said, the sanad is the silah al-mu'min, the sword of the believer. Then he would say around the mafhum, وَإِن لَمْ يَكُنْ مَعَهُ سِلَاحٌ فَبِأَيِّ شَيْءٍ يُقَاتِلُ, that if the silah, the sword, is not with that person, then with what thing will he fight with? Meaning the sanad is something that they would fight the people of innovation and people of lies with. And many ulama and aqwal are like this, like Fudayl ibn Iyad rahimahullah, or rather uh, like the narration of Yahya bin Ma'in rahimahullah, that when he's on his deathbed, he said that I want two things, an empty house and a high chain. Meaning the ulama of hadith, they sought these high chains with a lot of vigor, a lot of ambition, and they would make their hadith short as possible. So that's the response to people who say that why didn't Imam Muslim narrate from his teacher, Imam al-Bukhari? وَلَمْ يَزَلْ يَسْتَفِيدُ مِنْهُ يَتَتَبَّعُ آثَارَهُ. And he did not cease in seeking benefit from Imam al-Bukhari, rahimahullah ta'ala, and he did not cease in his close ta'alluq with him, that he stayed with him even after Imam al-Bukhari was persecuted from his land and many ulama went against him. Still al-Imam Muslim did not leave his side. حتى قال الدارقطني, الإمام المحدث الدارقطني, he says, لولا البخاري لما راح مسلم ولا جاء. If it were not for Imam al-Bukhari, then Imam Muslim would have not gone anywhere, nor would he have come back. So Imam Muslim without Imam al-Bukhari would not be anything, as alluded to by Daraqutni. Then Al-Imam Muslim rahimahullah, he says regarding his teacher, ما تحت عديم السماء أعلم بحديث رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من محمد ibn Ismail al-Bukhari, that there is no one under the heavens more knowledgeable about the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam than Imam al-Bukhari. Meaning in his time, he was the muhaddith of his time, the hafiz of his time, the best narrator of hadith of his time, as was attested to by his students and his peers. His peers also, they attested to his brilliance in the science of hadith. Also, Imam Muslim, he says, دعني أقبل رجليك يا أستاذ الأساتذة وسيد المحدثين ويا طبيب الحديث في علله. That Imam Muslim would say, give me permission or allow me to kiss your feet, O teacher of the teachers, master of the hadith scholars, and doctor of the hadith in its ilal, its hidden defects. That Imam Muslim praises Imam al-Bukhari with such stature that look how he praises makana in the science of hadith. So that concludes the discussion regarding Imam al-Bukhari, his Sahih being preferred over the Sahih Imam Muslim. Then the Shaykh rahimahullah, Shaykh Abdullah Sirajuddin, he says, Anwa'u Sahihi, the types of Sahih. As-Sahihu naw'an, the Sahih is two types. Sahih li dhatihi wa sahihun li ghayrihi. The hadith which is Sahih in itself and the hadith which is Sahih because of other extraneous factors. أما الصحيح لذاته فهو الذي يشتمل على أعلى صفات القبول وهذا هو الذي تقدم تعريفه. When we talk about مطلقا صحيح hadith, it refers to صحيح لذاته. That in itself it meets all the conditions for the hadith to be sahih, as you mentioned before, like for example it being muttasil, being free from ilal, being free from shudud, all the rawat are adil, ضابط. وأما الصحيح لغيره فهو ما لم يشتمل على أعلى صفات القبول بأن كان الضبط فيه غير تام ولكنه ورد من طريق أخرى تترجح عليه أو تساويه أو من طرق أخرى منحطة عنه في الرتبة وأقلها طريقان فحينئذ يصير صحيحا لغيره. صحيح لغيره, to sum it up, is that the hadith Sahih li ghayrihi is different to Sahih li dhatihi, because Sahih li ghayrihi means that it may not reach all the conditions of it being Sahih li dhatihi, because maybe some of the rawat are not all fully dhabit, or there is something to be said about the hadith, but because it is narrated from a different angle, it will be called Sahih li ghayrihi. And also the Sahih li ghayrihi can be made with the other hadith. It may not even be Sahih, but the corroboration of that hadith makes that initial report into Sahih لغيره. فالأصل في الصحيح لغيره أنه حسن لذاته. That the asl of the hadith is that it is Hasan لذاته, meaning it reaches all the conditions to be Hasan, not Da'if, Hasan, meaning the fair hadith. Then it will be made Sahih لغيره because of other hadith or one other hadith which strengthens the initial hadith and makes it Sahih لغيره. Hasan lidati can be like, for example, in the chain, there will be a narrator, they're all dhabit or thiqa, but there will be one narrator who's suduq, trustworthy. He's just suduq, so this will bring the hadith to Hasan lidati. ثم ارتقى بالمتابعة والتقوية إلى درجة صحيح فسمي صحيحا لغيره. Then it is given a higher rank because of a mutaba'ah, a corroborating report, والتقوية, which strengthens it, to the rank of Sahih. So this will be called Sahih لغيره. مثاله ما رواه الترمذي من طريق محمد بن عمرو عن أبي سلمة عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه. Abu Hurairah passed away in the year 59 after Hijri. أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم قال لولا أن أشق على أمتي لأمرتهم بالسواك عند كل صلاة. That if it were not for a hardship on my ummah that would cause mashaqqa, hardship, I would make the siwak a command in every salah. This hadith, فإن محمد بن عمرو وإن اشتهر بالصدق والصيانة ووثقه بعضهم لذلك ولكنه لم يكن متقنا حتى ضعفه بعضهم لسوء حفظه ولم يخرج له البخاري إلا مقرونا بغيره وخرج له مسلم في المتابعات. This hadith, the narrator Muhammad ibn Amr, he is famous for being sidq wa siyana, for his truthfulness and siyana. And some ulama have made him thiqa. They've done tawthiq of him. ولكنه لم يكن متقنا. He is not mutqin, a master. He is not mutqin, which is the highest level of a narrator being sahih. حتى ضعفه بعضهم. Some ulama would weaken him, Muhammad ibn Amr, who is mentioned in the hadith of Tirmidhi, لسوء حفظه, because of his weak memorization. His memorization had some things to be said about it. وَلَمْ يُخَرِّجْ لَهُ الْبُخَارِيُّ. Imam al-Bukhari did not take his narrations إِلَّا مَقْرُونًا بِغَيْرِهِ. So maqroon lughatan in language would mean to be paired up or to be connected, like the word muta'alliq or muta'allaq here. In hadith terminology, it would mean that a narration has another narration that strengthens the other one. يَشُدُّ بَعْضٌ بَعْضًا, until it is strengthened in such a way that Imam al-Bukhari would take that narration from Muhammad ibn Amr. وخرج له مسلم في المتابعات. Al-Imam Muslim does takhrij of his hadith, mentions the hadith of Muhammad ibn Amr in his mutaba'at. In his, as we mentioned, in the mutaba'at, the follow-up reports in his sahih. فحديثه حسن لذاته. Because of this, his hadith will be hasan لذاته, not hasan, or not sahih لذاته, or sahih لغيره. ولكن, however, بمتابعة راو آخر لمحمد عليه في شيخه وهو أبو هريرة رضي الله عنه ارتقى إلى الصحة. Because of a mutaba'a, a follow-up narration, this strengthens his narration initially, and this narration becomes sahih لغيره. Mean that sahih hadith, which is in itself does not fulfill all the conditions, but because of other reports, it will elevate the hadith to make it, meaning irtaqa, to elevate, to make higher, to the daraja, the level of صحة. فقد روى هذا الحديث جماعة غير أبي سلمة من طريق الأعرج عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه كما في رواية الصحيحين. أعرج, the famous student of Abu Hurairah رضي الله تعالى عنه. There are many hadith scholars other than Abi Salama from this tariq of al-A'raj from Abi Hurairah, meaning in the chain when it says an Abi Salama, there are other narrators who narrated from A'raj, from Abu Hurairah, like A'raj, and other people narrated from A'raj, al-A'raj. Because of this, the hadith becomes sahih. So because of this hadith, لولا أن أشق على أمتي لأمرتهم بالسواك عند كل صلاة. Because of this hadith, it is strengthened. صحيح لذاته بالنظر إلى الطريق الصحيحين. This hadith becomes sahih لذاته, looking at the routes, the roots of the hadith in the two books of hadith, Bukhari and Muslim. وصحيح لغيره بالنظر إلى رواية الترمذي من طريق محمد بن عمرو لمتابعة غيره عليه. Also the narration in Sahih al-Bukhari, of course it's authentic because it's مقرون بغيره, but also the one in Tirmidhi which is narrated عن أبي سلمة عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه. This narration is also authentic. Sahih لغيره, because it meets the conditions of it being Sahih لغيره, not Sahih لذاته, but Sahih لغيره, because of the mutaba'a of Muhammad ibn Amr. قال السخاوي, الإمام السخاوي states, ومن أمثلته أيضا. Also from an example, أمثلة, the plural of مثل, أمثلة أيضا also. ما رواه الترمذي من طريق إسرائيل عن عامر بن شقيق عن أبي وائل عن عثمان بن عفان رضي الله عنه أن النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم كان يخلل لحيته. That the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم would do تخليل of his beard. تخليل, you know, تخليل in wudu, when they would run the fingers through the beard. تفرد به عامر. عامر is alone in this narration. وقد قواه البخاري وابن حبان. Imam al-Bukhari and Ibn Hibban, the author of the Sahih, strengthened this narration. وَلَيَّنَهُ ابن معين وأبو حاتم الرازي. يحيى bin Ma'in, Imam al-Jarh wa Ta'adil fi zamanihi, the leader of al-Jarh wa Ta'adil in his time, the science of criticizing and praising narrators. He says he's layyin. Layyin means to be soft, but layyin means there is some da'af, weakness in this narrator. Abu Hatim al-Razi, the famous muhaddith, also a authority al-Jarh wa Ta'dil, and also in Ilal al-Hadith, as he has a book called al-Ilal also. And Abu Hatim al-Razi, rahimahullah, and Abu Zur'a al-Razi, the two Razis, they were very famous muhaddithun. وحكم البخاري, Imam Bukhari gives a hukm. فيما حكاه وترمذي, in what Tirmidhi narrates, في العلل, in his علل. Remember, Tirmidhi has a علل, which is a small mat. Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali comments on the علل of a Tirmidhi. Then Al-Allamah Nuruddin Itar, rahimahullah, he has his own edition of it in 2 volumes, with his own muqaddimah in there. بأن حديثه هذا حسن. This hadith is حسن. وصححه الترمذي والدارقطني وابن خزيمة والحاكم وغيرهم وذلك لما عدده من الشواهد. This hadith itself is حسن, that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam كان يخلل لحيته, that he would do تخليل of his لحية. But ulama like الترمذي, الدارقطني وابن خزيمة, Imam al-A'imma, who passed away in the year 311 after Hijri, والحاكم Abu Abdullah al-Hakim, who passed away in the year 405 after Hijri, وغيرهم, other ulama like this, they said that the hadith is sahih because of the shawahid, the also corroborating reports that support this hadith. Meaning adad means to support, like when you say Aduddin al-Iji, rahimahullah, the famous mutakallim, Adud, the supporter of the deen, rahimahullahu ta'ala. كحديث أبي المليح الرقي عن الوليد بن زوران عن أنس رضي الله عنه أخرجه أبو داود وإسناده حسن. Again, he mentions the same example, that this hadith, which is now in Sunan Abi Dawood, remember the Sunan Abi Dawood, Imam Abu Dawood passed away in the year 275 after Hijri. He chose from around 400,000 hadith, and there's a mutaba'a of this hadith from Al-Walid على رواية هذا الحديث ثابت البناني عن أنس. Thabit al-Bunani, the most authentic student of Anas bin Malik radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, a Sahabi al-Jalil, who passed away in the year 93 after Hijri. Al-Tabarani in his Mu'jam al-Kabir narrates the mutaba'a for this hadith, the follow-up narration, the corroborating report for this hadith, which would also make it Sahih li ghayrihi. Remember, Mu'jam al-Tabarani, the Mu'jam al-Kabir has 25,000 reports, around that much reports. And al-Tabarani, Sulaiman bin Ahmad al-Tabarani, passed away in the year 360 after Hijri, famous muhaddith. He wrote al-Mu'ajim al-Thalatha, Mu'ajim al-Kabir, Mu'ajim al-Saghir, Mu'ajim al-Awsat, these 3 books. قال ابن حجر, الإمام أحمد بن حجر العسقلاني, خاتمة الحفاظ, he mentioned this narration, although al-Shaykh Abdullah Sirajuddin, rahimahullah ta'ala, he says that the Khatimatul Hufaz, the last Hafid of Hadith, is Az-Zurqani al-Maliki, rahimahullah, because Sheikh Abdullah Sirajuddin really loved the books of Az-Zurqani, and he would say that he has to be the Khatimatul Hufaz because of his stature in Hadith, like his commentary on Al-Mawahib al-Aduniyyah of Al-Qastallani or Al-Qustallani. This book, Sheikh Abdullah Sirajuddin, rahimahullah, says himself that he sought a lot of benefit from this book. So we should also read this book and benefit from the book like the Shaykh did, rahimahullah ta'ala. So he says, Ibn Hajar says, وَلَهُ أي لحديث عثمان بن عفان رضي الله عنه, for this hadith of Uthman bin Affan رضي الله تعالى عنه, أن النبي صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم كان يخلل لحيته شواهد أخرى. Remember a difference between the shawahid and the mutaba'a. Remember, you can't say mushahada. It's shahid and shawahid and mutaba'a for the tawabi. But also, this hadith is a shahid. A shahid can be, the ulama of hadith state, that will come later, but we'll cover it now. The shahid can be of a different sahabi, and the mutaba'a can be of the same sahabi. So you have two types, shahid lafzi and shahid al-ma'nawi, but of course we'll get to this later. وبمجموع ذلك حكموا على أصل الحديث بالصحة وكل طريق منها بمفردها لا يبلغ درجة الصحة. This hadith specifically, with all of its different turuq, they give the hukam of the asl of a hadith with siha, and every tariq from it in it alone. So the hadith alone does not reach siha. But the hadith with this majmu'a turuq, all its different chains and different ways the hadith is reported, it will make the hadith sahih لغيره. حكم الحديث الصحيح من حيث الاحتجاج به. The sahih hadith, as we look at the reliance of it, how do we rely upon the sahih hadith? What's the hukam? اتفق العلماء على أن الحديث الصحيح حجة في مختلف الأحكام الشرعية. All the ulama agree that the sahih hadith is taken in fiqh, meaning those ahkam which are not from aqidah, from usuluddin, those ahkam like salah, like saum, like hajj, like zakat, these ahkam, like hudud, these ahkam, the hadith are proof in these aspects of fiqh. سواء كانت عبادهما, either if they are from their ibadat, from the worships, mu'amalat, the dealings, من like kitab al-buyu' ونحوهما, or like other types I mentioned earlier. وعلى أنه موجب العمل به. Like we mentioned, the hadith, ahadith sahih, the ahadith al-sahiha, they give yujibu or tujibu al-amal. They make wajib amal. You have to do amal on hadith صحيح. قال الحافظ ابن حجر رحمه الله في النخبة in his نخبة يصل الحديث. إن العلماء متفقون على وجوب العمل بكل ما صح ولو لم يخرجه الشيخان. The ulama agree, meaning the ulama of usul, the ulama of hadith, they are all in agreement that the amal is wajib on these hadith. Everything that is sahih, even if the two sheikhs don't narrate it. So people think that the Bukhari and Muslim, they are only books where the ulama, they like Bukhari and Muslim, they had to compile every Sahih hadith. This is not the case, and nowhere you will find in any literature or any book of hadith where the claim is even attributed to Imam al-Bukhari or Imam Muslim, where they say that every single Sahih hadith will place in these two books. But rather they just place the cream of the crop, the best hadith they could find in each topic, each abwab, like the Tarajum al-Abwab of Sahih al-Bukhari. Remember in Hadi al-Sari, Ibn Hajar says, Fiqh al-Imam al-Bukhari fi tarajimihi. In his Tarajum al-Abwab, the fiqh of Imam al-Bukhari is extracted because, of course, he was a mujtahid mutlaq, and Imam Muslim was a mujtahid murajjih, but Shah Waliullah Dahlawi, in his al-Insaf, goes to the position that Imam Muslim was a Shafi'i, and the Tirmidhi was a Hanbali or a Shafi'i, and the ulama differ on the madhahib. ويحتج به في العقائد الدينية إذا كان يفيد القطع. If the hadith goes to the level of qat'i, then they can be used in aqaid, but this, of course, discussion will come. Can you use, what is the principle of using hadith in aqidah as opposed to fiqh, because they differ. بأن بلغ حد التواتر كما هو مفصل في كتب الأصول. That these hadith have to reach the had, the definition of tawatur, mutawatir hadith. The hadith has to be mass transmitted for it to be used in aqidah. كما هو مفصل في كتب الأصول. Like what is given more tafsil, what is given more in detail in the books of usul al-fiqh. Like for example the book of Ibn al-Hajib, Mukhtasar al-Muntaha in usul, and then its commentary of Adududdin al-Iji, which is called Sharh al-Adud ala Mukhtasar al-Muntaha. Then you have books like Al-Waraqat of Abdul Malik al-Juwaini, Abu al-Mu'ali al-Juwaini. Then you have the books in the Hanafi school like Usul al-Shashi, Mubad al-Usul, Nur al-Anwar, these books in Usul, and the books in the Maliki madhab, and the books in the Hanbali madhab, like the book of Ibn Qudama al-Maqdisi, Rawdat al-Nadhir. In Usul, which cover this position that we will cover also in this later in this passage of the hadith, whether they are taken in aqaid, and what is, if they are taken, what is their conditions. Inshallah, we'll stop there for today. Inshallah, we'll carry on next lesson.